Hello viewers, Kubiando Kith and Kin, I'm SB and welcome back to Roadwarden, where I'm getting a little concerned about what we're gonna have to do about what we've learned about Steep House. I think I want to ask around for more information before I go making any decisions. Because I still don't feel like I really know what happened. I know what happened factually, but I want a better understanding of why. I want to understand what the sort of the rationale of it was, because I think that's going to make a big difference in whether I can consider any of the people of Howler's Dell to not be at fault. Theus is definitely hugely responsible, but to be perfectly honest with you, we might just have to accept that everybody in Howler's Dell together went and committed an act of genocide, and genocide might be too large a word for the scale we're talking about here, but you know what I'm saying. They all got together to do some tremendous evil, and yeah, I don't know. All right, so my plan is, now that I kind of screwed the day up by going way too far south, we could just head back to the peat fields. It's still pretty early in the day. Yeah, that's not horrible. We can head back to the peat fields. I definitely want to talk to what's her name? Egidia, about what she knows about what happened at Steep House, and especially if she has any insight into what exactly her mother's mindset is and everything. I also kind of want to do that. I was going to say, I kind of want to give Beholder some more stuff. We could give Beholder a bunch more of our blood, take the healing potion, and then also potentially the withering powder, since it kind of seems like there aren't any uses for it anymore. But if we do end up going to this strange place later, this high island, I wonder if that will still be true. We can't make it back to the old camp. So that being the case, I assume whatever of Anarian stuff still exists, it must be held by the woman at the Pelt, right? We can go back down to the Pelt, tell them what's up, potentially buy ourselves a crossbow. Somebody had a grappling hook. I'm trying to remember. There was a grappling hook somewhere, and it seems like it might be really valuable. Because we were told that it seems unlikely that the rope would be sufficient to scale the cliffs. So my question is, do I go south now? Do we just ride down to the Pelt? The problem is I'm only at 3 vitality right now, and if I would like to stay the night in a place where I can gain vitality, then bleed for Beholder. Make sure we can give Beholder as much as possible. So I think Day 27. I think I'm going to go back north. We're going to try to make this work, and then come back down here, sleep at Howler's Dell, and then do this stuff the next day. Yeah, and if we're riding back up, we may as well... I don't know that it's going to help us particularly to talk to the people of Old Pagos now. I guess, you know what, before I do any of this, we can talk to the mayor and ask about putting up one of these bronze rods, and we could just avoid any subjects having to do with Steep House for the moment until we have spoken to more people. Yeah, alright. Hey, could you find me the mayor? Alright, I am made to wait for a few minutes because she likes to seem powerful. If I bring her news about the other parts of the peninsula, she doesn't pay for this necessarily, right? Is there anything here that I want to tell her? I'm a little worried about telling her the people of Creeks face many struggles, because I am concerned now that she might take that as putting them on the target list. Actually, you know Eudocia the Enchantress? I'd like to hang this rod on a watchtower for her. You let her weigh a rod in her hand. It's empty, she says. What is it for? Do I want to lie to this? I think that this is like an absolutely not. She is not going to go for this. She does not want anybody else being able to project any kind of force into this area. If I tell this lie, she probably doesn't. I think she's going to say no to both options 1 and 3. So I think I'm going to try option 2 and hope that I'm a good liar. She likes me. My appearance is completely fucked. That's probably going to make things a little bit worse. But we can't get back out of this conversation now to fix it. So, yeah, it tracks rain and winds. She's trying to learn if the entire peninsula has the same weather at all times. She clasps her hand around her knee. Since when does she pay attention to the skies? You want me to believe she's looking after crops? She tilts her head to the left and purses her lips. Even if such knowledge could have its use, I'm far from trusting her. You should also be worried. She spends a few long breaths in silence, rolling the piece of bronze on the table. So far you've been rather reliable, she smiles. And I don't think a piece of bronze will hurt us much. You have my permission to put it on whichever tower you want. Okay, that rules. Can you give us a moment? As you frown, a muscular, crudely dressed woman approaches the table asking Theus for directions. Something about moist logs and breaking boards. You stop paying attention quickly and instead wonder why the mayor insists on holding these meetings outside. Well, it could be it's all theater. She's just showing everybody that she's working. I do think this is true as well. I do not think she regards me as a threat. I'm going to go for option 3 here. She's trying to show how much work she's doing for everybody all the time. Great job. She sends off the worker with an encouraging smile, though when her eyes meet yours, it shifts into a challenging smirk. She kind of likes me. Thank you for your time. I'm going to just go do the thing. Place a bronze rod on top of watchtower. You approach the same tower you've climbed before. There's a teenage girl crouching on the bank of the creek, washing laundry in bowls. With a smile, she offers to hold the rope ladder for you. I mean, sure, why not? She puts on her sandals and approaches the ladder. Go ahead. She keeps it still as you climb to the top. Even when the wind gets stronger, you feel in control. It takes you a fair bit of time, but with a couple of cords, you attach the rod to the outer wall. You make sure that even a strong push won't make it fall down. Once you touch the ground, the girl doesn't walk up to you, but tries to make eye contact. There's a nice view from there, eh? Young kids, this tall, always climb up when Nissol's watching. She holds her hand near her waist. Her kind smile contrasts with her bored, indifferent eyes. I mean, some idle chit-chat's not gonna hurt. I want the people of the town to like me, whether or not, we're saving Theus. Or whether or not we're saving them, I guess. She craves any tales from the outside world. You tell her about Agro and the hardships of your travels, while she tells you about her magical talents. She can make water clean, and hopes to put it to use once she gets more experienced with it. I didn't get all the power-hungry sorcerers, Why would one throw fire from their hands while spoons need to get clean? She also mentions the strict rigor followed by the local druids. They take on the responsibility of teaching new generations how to live side by side with the woods. Because of this, they're like our other parents, you see, with their own rules and tasks, but aren't so cranky if we speak to them humbly, like their own kids. It may be weird for an outsider, she says with a smile, but they're not some mages of right. They're our forest speakers. Soon after that, she bids you farewell, stretching her arms and back, and returns to her wet clothes. Okay, that's interesting. I don't really know that I can make much of that, but okay. So let's now go and travel somewhere. I'm so torn. I guess let's head back north, just to have made a decision. We'll have to give the dude a coin. Yeah, it's fine. And we can hit all this stuff on the way back, right? I need to meet with Terentius. Yep, okay. I'm still going to have to pay, sadly. What can you sell me again? You are the person with the bone hook. I would like to purchase your bone hook. A jar with a bug-killing ointment. I can just make this. This is not a big deal. And I can make it for slightly cheaper. I can make it... No, wait. I can make it for considerably cheaper. There's no bones cost attached. It was just the rations. I gotta remember to buy rations when we're at the pelt. Alright. I need you to open the path to White Marshes. Will a food ration be fine? Very fine. He licks his lips. Hey, show me your alchemical ingredients. My man does have woundwort. I'm gonna buy a bundle of woundwort. Because that was the thing we were missing, right? Okay, so... Creepers are open. Let's head down to White Marshes. Most of the undead are in the fields, but you could swear that one of the skeletons is staring at your axe. You step aside, and the absent gaze of its empty sockets doesn't move. Huh. I go to Helvius. I really, really wonder... Okay, yeah. I wonder if there will be any way that sabotaging Deus's plans could possibly get back to him. Because at this point, we're probably going to interrupt the performance of those plans anyway. And I don't necessarily think... If I can get him to trust me enough to let me talk to Aurentius, I can maybe solve the undead problem, or at least figure out what the fuck's going on around here. And who knows, Aurentius might know some things. Alright, listen, you need to strengthen your guards. You tell him everything you've learned from her, though he has little patience and keeps glancing toward Aurentius' hut. Between his questions, his leg flinches a bit, as if he's stopping himself from running away. I don't know what she did to you that you now go against her. Cracking his knuckles and raising... He breathes heavily, cracking his knuckles and raising his poleaxe. But we'll be ready for her. We avoid giving weapons to our workers, but it's time for some changes. He tells everyone in sight to prepare for a gathering and selects a few people to spread the news. You, on the other hand, think about this. I'm keeping her in the dark on this. But still, he does not trust me enough to let me see Aurentius. Shit. This is really tough. I can't figure out what it is that the Turf Wizard really wants. It seems kind of circular, right? Like, the Turf Wizard wants me to deal with the undead. That's the only way he'll trust me. And I need him to trust me so that I can get him to tell me how to meet with Aurentius so that I can deal with the undead. Listen, Eudocia, the Enchantress, would like to place this rod in your village. Somewhere high? Would that be a problem? She what? Let me see. He swings the hollow piece of bronze like a sword made from a branch, then raises it above his head, staring at it with little patience. A lightning catcher or a toy? Well, he gives it back. Come back one day before noon. You'll go out with the foragers as a guard. Work with them for half a day. We'll put it in a tree. Or on a roof, mayhap. Can I just pay you? Oh, okay. Maybe another time. That fucking, that sucks so much. Now that I don't feel like I need you, Glaucia's help to tell me where Asterion is, maybe I'm less concerned how she feels about me. That was really my biggest concern, was figuring out what's up with Asterion. Glaucia doesn't seem very inclined to like me anyway. And I kind of seem to have screwed up the tasks she gave me, so I think, yeah, alright. It would anger Glaucia, but it may help me earn his trust. I found out the highwayman's hideout. He runs his eyes over your bundles, as if you're hiding the band there, then frowns. Well, you describe the old hamlet and the dangerous path leading to it. For a few breaths, you're not sure if he's even listening. Then he points at your chin with his blade. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to speak with Laurentius is the real the real answer. We want to get on his good side, but I'm not sure, like, as ever, I'm not sure lying is the right way to do that. A lot of people don't like to be lied to, actually. Well... And if he has the sense that I'm just telling him what he wants to hear, that won't necessarily earn us a lot of trust. I would like to be liked more here. I'm going to be honest with him. I just need to speak with Laurentius. He nods in silence, and for a moment you don't see his usual contempt. Do you really think I'm not trustworthy enough to speak with him after all this? Of course. He grunts without thinking twice. But I passed to him all the news you brought us, and he grew curious about you. Ask me one evening, you'll have your chance. But the only chance. You hear me? You carry a strange air with you, outsider. We'll keep our eyes open. Okay. Yeesh. The exchange rate on most kinds of food's really bad. Alright, travel. So let's see here. We got 4:45 until dusk. So we can't really make it very far. I could go back to the old forest garden and just forage. If we stay the night here, I can place the rod in the morning, and then we can just leave and not have to come back for some time. I kind of want to talk to the turf wizard again. Here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to bounce out to the old forest garden, where I don't think we foraged for a little while. Okay, found some plants. Back to the peat fields, where I will tell the guy that I'm going to meet with Laurentius. Need to weaken the bandits and get rid of the undead in the village. Okay, I was kind of hoping that he would give me some help with what I should do now that I'm going to meet with Laurentius, but fine. That's fine. So we'll head back here. It's probably about time. Okay. I mean, I may as well repair my clothes, right? Can't use my inventory in the middle of the conversation. Whatever, I can repair my clothes afterward too. But I should do it beforehand. Go to Helvius. Really wish I'd washed my face. Alright, I'm ready to meet with him now. In silence, he tells you to take off your cloak and gestures for the guards to approach you. The light of a torch makes you squint your eyes. We're going to Aurentius, he explains, and they ask no questions. They grasp your hands, take away your axe, and start to squeeze you around the belt, armpits, and even the groin. A young woman reaches for your boots and lets out a triumphant grunt upon finding your dagger, then tosses it in with your other blades. Ready, she announces, and shoves your things into a sack, which she then puts onto your saddle. Helvius looks into your eyes, holding the silver moose head with his fingers, as if to add import to his words. Don't be a monkey in there, he growls. We'll wait just outside the door. All right. I am not here to assassinate your Aurentius. The guards head toward the flooded grass, gesturing for you to climb up the wooden beams, then the squeaky stairs. The locals, lured by this unusual event, gather around the building, and the few lanterns they're carrying reveal their eyes. In them you find worry, curiosity, and hints of hope, or so you think. The boggy air grows denser from their silence. On the top of the platform, a large guard steps aside, allowing you to reach the door. I'm gonna knock. I'm gonna show deference here. You wait for a few breaths, then hear the hoarse voice of an elder. Not hungry. Forgive me, but I need to speak with you. Come. You push the door, making the weak flame dance under the touch of cold air. The man looks at you from the bench, speaking with concern, like a parent to a child. I've nothing to forgive. He swallows his saliva, struggling to speak. Join me, and let's be lost together. The chamber is humid and smells of sweat. The single wax candle that stands beneath a brass hourglass, dangerously close to an open codex, whose pages are covered with fresh letters. While the large collection of parchment must be of great value, the man has hardly any possessions. Humble bowls and cups, writing instruments, enough candles to keep him company for the next 10 days. You glance at the single pelt placed on the floor. To sleep on it, you'd have to curl up your legs. Speak to me, Warden. The priest's voice crackles like a falling branch in dry woods. And tell me of the destruction you're planning. Before you respond, he turns away. Or why else would you do so much to see me? Not to pray at right sign. He touches the hourglass with his slender fingers. My people know I won't be moved by you. Okay, so tell me your side of the story. My side? He flinches, then raises his wrinkled chin and clicks loudly as if he's munching on his tongue. What may I say that you don't see? We've had to save our people, and I was shown the way to do so. It's not a tale, but our lives. My voice won't make them better or worse, for you can see them carved by the past. As he pulls the neckline of his robe, revealing his skinny neck and chest, you think of all the other people you've seen in the village. In this weak light, his yellowish skin resembles the very parchment he uses. Tightly stretched over his shell, which holds no trace of fat. The hair in his ears and on his ink-stained fingers is thick and neglected, while his shaved face and scalp make him resemble an ill infant. After every few breaths, he squints his two-colored eyes. His feet are dirty and covered with scratches, while his linen robe is little more than a rag. Well, should a priest of the rite really involve themselves with forbidden rituals? He gestures for you to sit down next to him and puts a hand on your shoulder. The many types of ink he uses in his work have left colorful dots on his fingers. Green, yellow, blue, black, red. It's a big thought for a layman, but you can trust me. I put years into studying Right's will, and they're guiding me through all of this. I revealed the truth the Unites and Seekers were hiding in their arrogance, the words they mistook. One day, you may understand this too. Well, here's the thing. I actually am pretty well read. I've also had an opportunity to study Right's tablets. Can we talk about them? In the following minutes, you must admit that Aurentius knows his passages well, and is capable of quoting large chunks of old stories from memory. However, you realize quickly that he has indeed misunderstood a few words used by Adir's tribe, and fell into an old heresy, discussed and refuted a few centuries back in the cities. You explain his mistakes slowly, and while he rejects most of your observations, his confidence and eagerness diminish, especially when you mention that he's far from being the first to come up with these ideas. He rests his chin on the palm of his hand, nodding along as you close his copy of Wright's teachings. So now that I've shaken his confidence in the idea that he is the first person to figure this out, or that this has not been, debated and thrown aside before, perhaps this is a time to press on the idea of the undead? You must be aware that they're dangerous. When left to themselves, like the flame for hearth. He rests his elbows on the table and puts a finger to his lips, rubbing them gently. They're the night that follows a shell's day, but like lightning or the wind, merely a part of our world. Okay. So you say it as if you're awakening the undead with your pneuma alone. Once you're gone, the awoken shells will be out of anyone's control. I mean, this is a real concern. The shells you're using aren't just your own dead. You stole the corpses of other families. That's a thing we've learned. You changed your views before. You used to reject any sort of pagan magic. I wonder if this combined with what we've just told him, the way we've sort of shaken his confidence, maybe... He might be sensitive to this. They don't seem to hate Eudocia. I'm gonna try. I wonder how he feels about this. We don't have any reason to believe that he feels shame about this, but we also don't have any reason to believe that he doesn't. It's just like a hole in our understanding of his understanding. I'm gonna try pressing on his the fact that he's changed his views before. Man, maybe, I don't know. This feels very important to me, so forgive me if I'm a little deliberate here. Let's try this. Let's see if this gets us anywhere, because he might feel some shame about having to steal the corpses of other families, or honestly, he might not know about it. This might be something the villagers have done without him. The shells you're using aren't just your own dead. You stole the corpses of other families. I'd forgive a starving child who stole a dropped plum. He starts with conviction, repeating an answer he has well memorized, but seeing your frown, his voice grows shaky. Or moving into a pillaged home. I take no pleasure in my deeds, but I've been right to stain my innocence for the sake of others. Okay, that's an interesting... It's good to know that that's how he sees it. So I don't want to come at this with a threat. I think he's probably been threatened a lot, given the way a lot of the people around here feel about this undead situation. And I don't want to harden him against me. I want to try to do this from the inside. Both because I think that's how our character generally tries to deal with people, but also because I think in this case, with this guy in particular, it's going to be way more effective. But you hurt the memories and beliefs of other families and tribes. These matters are not for a single soul to judge. There may be consequences you can't yet see, but that are just as valid. I don't love any of these. My suspicion is he doesn't really care about how the people of the other tribes feel about it. Especially I doubt he's vulnerable to the argument that other people will dislike what you're doing, so you should starve. Let's try the middle. These matters are not for a single soul to judge. It may all make sense in your eyes, but these things get more complex the deeper you dig into them. There may be consequences you can't yet see, but that are just as valid. I think those are all weak answers. You say so, as if I put but a single thought into it, and not many years of prayers and reading. His words, while clear, are undercut by his doubt. He looks at his hourglass, moving his lips quietly. Now, you say it as if you're awakening the dead with your pneuma alone, but I saw your rituals of blood. Is this a part of our world as well? He moves his shoulders with an embarrassed sigh, but then looks at you with his dark eye and regains his composure. Suffering? Of course it is. It's like we're pressing against his shame. And I think that that's a way to go here. We need to be very careful how we do this, because I don't want to put him like fully on the defensive. I think he's absolutely willing to self-sacrifice. This is a terrible response. Don't you feel repulsed? I think is also going to probably... Do I think we could get in through his repulsion? Like the line, it must touch your conscience. I think this is just another version of this, right? Where it's like, don't you feel like you personally have a problem with this? But I don't think he does. I think a big part of how he has justified this to himself is that he is doing for everybody else, right? Blood magic and necromancy may be part of our world, but so are plagues and famines. We may need to accept them, but it doesn't make them right. He stares into his codex, tapping his fingers against each other. There's thoughtfulness in his silence, if not approval. All right. I do want to bring up Eudocia because I think that this will be easier for him to swallow if he thinks there is another way. I don't think that there's any version of this where he is like, yeah, you're right, my people should starve because this magic is too dark. Right? That's very much the opposite of what's going on here. So we have to also give him a way that his people don't starve. You know, there are ways to get things done without necromancy. Instead, you could support Eudocia's work and use one of her golems. Golems. He waits for you to carry on and has to think about an answer for quite a few breaths. I cannot say I've heard about it. Even if what you're saying's true, we've hardly anything to give to her in return. I'll discuss it with Helvius. And you may feel strongly... Do we want to do this, or do we just want to stop and move on? I think I'm not going to say this. I think this would have a negative impact. But there is a question in my mind about whether I want to press this. Just like hitting him with the, well, your beliefs can change. It feels pretty weak to me, but like calling on his past particularly makes me wonder. And this is really interesting because of how opaque the mechanics behind it are. If this had a little like UI thing where we were watching a bar representing his mood going back and forth, instead of having to try to tease out what is happening with him from the text, I think it would be a lot less. It would probably be a lot easier to tell what to do, and it would be a lot less interesting, and I honestly think both of those things are bad. I don't think I would feel comfortable saying this if not for the fact that we pointed out to him that his change of view before was like a mistake. because maybe this is helping to offer him like a way out. Listen, you changed before, you can change again, kind of thing. I'm gonna say it. You used to reject any sort of pagan magic. Both his light and dark eyes are staring at you, as if you're some mysterious mushroom. Mayhap, he says slowly, but I follow no pagan teachings. What I try to master was shown to me by the only spirit, and I'd rather hide my soul than stain it against right's will. Okay, I move on from this topic. He moves his quill aside and covers his inkwell with a lid. His loud breath grows impatient. The guy we met at Foggy's, I can't remember his name. Was he a follower of the right? I met this prophet. This is going to sound wild. Caius, there we go. You tell him about Caius, his faith, past, and visions, of the great flood of rivers of faith, and of the new cities, and of the judgment of sinners. The priest listens carefully until his patience fades away. Why are you telling me all this? See, this puts this sort of sets him and me against each other, which I don't love. This does so even more strongly. But maybe with the doubt that we have already sowed, this could be a way of seeding doubt in himself about his visions, about what he thinks he is being guided by when he now realizes that he has made some errors in interpretation. I'm going to try it. Many claim they are guided by the right, but their visions can't all be true at once. How am I to know who speaks the truth? He absently stares at his hourglass, taking a long moment before he speaks. That's the question, stranger. You may have good reasons to do what you're doing. I think if we could shake his belief that what he's doing here is like total self-sacrifice for the empowerment of others, we could probably make some headway, but I'm not sure how to turn that around. Do you truly believe your people are grateful for your leadership? I only guide their prayers and offer my rituals. I cannot read anyone's soul. His feet are scratching the floor nervously. I'm sure they may have different thoughts, but I'm grateful for our mayor's trust. He's young and impulsive, but honest and brave, willing to change for the better. I mean, Thyrsis already took a stance against you. That's why you made him an outcast. That was his choice. His raised voice turns into a long cough, then a defeated groan. Yes, there are fewer of us, but those who remain aren't suffering, nor are they held in the bellies of beasts. Those who follow me will be rewarded by right's mercy. Some of the locals already left the village, or plan to do so, because of your spells. Then let them. I build no cages, no dungeons. People change homes all the time. It's good for children. It's clear he doesn't believe his quiet words. And your people walk hungry. They struggle. He straightens up, leaning against the table with his hands, as if he's stopping himself from getting to his feet. How can you throw this at me, Warden? Don't you know our past? I offered my Numa to the others only after our children had started dying, with bark and toads in their teeth. You try to add something, but he scoffs and waves for you to forget it. I won't listen to what you think of our people, stranger. All right, you may have good reasons for what you're doing, but he squints his eyes, sizing you up. But I don't want to try to use Havlavan against him, but I have faith you'll find a better path forward with me around. The peninsula is no longer hopeless. That's That's some profound egotism. He doesn't care about the perspective of the other tribes. He has to believe there's a way forward. But I don't want to hang it on like all on myself like this. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't like any of these as arguments. But if we have to pick one, if I can't think of anything better, but you can still turn around from this path. Forget the past. It feels weak, right? Like, this hangs so much on me. But we know he does think that I'm interesting at the very least. He doesn't care what the other tribes feel. He cares what his people feel. I've built up no sort of like case around the idea that others might do violence, although he does have the information about Theus's, about the thing Theus is trying to put together. Maybe this is the right move because your people will face persecution. It's like change for outsiders is not, I think, a super compelling argument, but he cares about his people. He cares about how well his people are doing. I think I may try this. If I give him hope that the situation in the peninsula is going to change and that his people could be... But I mean, he's not going to believe. He already believes that they don't have anything to trade. I really don't like any of the bottom four. I don't like this one either, but it's the one I don't like the least. You can still turn around from this path. Forget the past. Start anew. He looks at you in silence, and you can't decide which eye you should look at. We aren't safe yet, and as long as the roads connect us to our neighbors, we may never be. You can't grasp our decisions, what we went through. You're a child taught to ride a horse, to fight and kill, to carry out the will of the masters, not to overcome the death of your tribe. I could try to lie to him. Look, you may be right, but before I came here, I did my best to learn about your past struggles. The days of hunger, the way howlers took away your timber trade. I want to understand your struggle. That's like, if I admit to him that he's right in this moment, does that mean that he feels that he can dismiss my argument completely? Or does it mean that he feels like I'm taking him and his people seriously? Because, like, obviously, I do need to show that I'm taking this seriously. This is not a good line. This is worthless. Scowling at him is bad here. I'm gonna try to show him that I'm not coming out of nowhere on this, that I understand what's going on. And most importantly, that I care. He looks at you with an open mouth until, finding no response, his eyes and shoulders soften. His stained robe looks more like a grain sack. You leave me speechless, city folk. Your ears are open. I hope you'll forgive my grumpiness. I guess we're done here, the end of the conversation? Like, I don't know what this means. We're done with this subject, or we're done here? Because I'm taking it as the latter, and if it is the latter indeed, then we kind of have to say the other thing. This might be pushing it too far, but I've done a lot for his people, and I legitimately don't wish him harm, and I'm gonna not bail on this. I'm pushing. Can't you see I'm trustworthy? I don't wish you harm. I can't, and I still don't understand you, Warden. You came here. His voice is interrupted by a weak cough, which leaves droplets of blood on his hand. Distracted, he wipes his hand on his robe, mixing the blood with dried ink. Then I guess we're done here. He spares you an absent glance, then turns around, steps away from the table, and falls on his knees. The cabin is so tiny he can lean his hand against the wall. Why do you let me hear this voice again? You think about a response, then you realize it's not you who's currently being addressed. I carry all the answers you taught me, yet I'm so torn. I begged you to give me a steady hand, but even now I'm lost, burnt by the things I asked you about. I lower my head. His exhaustingly long prayer gets harder to understand the longer it goes on. The priest's accent gets thicker, while at the same time he adds more and more words from Adir's tongue, and mentions names and events you've never heard of before, as if his worries need a lifetime to unravel. You may not convince the man to trust you, but you've awoken his long-buried fears. Okay. Thank the right, I suppose. Thank the right who I don't believe in. After what feels like an hour, the sobbing, snotty man uses the bench to support his sore legs. He stands up and approaches the door. Come, Warden. Time to fix this. All of this. Thank you, Aurentius. The gust of night wind eases your breath. Only now do you realize how much sweat has gathered behind your neck. The small crowd of villagers still surrounds the pond, fearfully observing the building from above candles and lanterns. The prophet, who needs to lean against a walking stick, raises his free hand. The candlelight touches his back, but his exhausted face is covered by darkness. I was wrong all this time, he utters. We need to go back. The silence, disturbed by working undead, turns into a mixture of relieved gasps, resentful shouts, and demands to explain what's going on. Aurentius walks down the stairs while Helvius moves by him, grabs your arm, and pushes you into a group of armed guards. They lead you away from your commotion, toward your mount. I'm gonna walk in silence for the moment. The woman who previously took away your dagger sounds exhausted, and reaches for the sack containing your axe. You'll spend the night in a shed, she instructs, and so you pick up your belongings. The guards are tense and keenly observe the growing crowd. Seems like no one will get good sleep tonight. Before I go to sleep, I block the door with a barrel and make sure my blade is at hand. I'm very nervous about how this is all going to work out. It seems like we got through. The shivers wake you up, and you open the door slightly, letting the dense fog in. There are hardly any lights outside, and you don't even see the village's wall. The locals gather their awoken workers on the roads, and while a few of them meet your eyes, the others refuse to acknowledge your gaze. The fall will make the fogs even more common. Soon, roads will get too dangerous for a single rider. You wake up to the terrible stench of burning, rotten flesh. Once you leave the shed, you head to Agro quickly. It's sleepy, hugging a corner as it trembles, but you find no wounds on it, nor any issues with your bundles. As you spend a few minutes to help it relax, you finally realize there are no undead in sight. The pyres beneath their gathered corpses are far away, in the back of the village, but the flames and smoke are visible even from a great distance. There's a large group surrounding Aurentius' house. The rumor reaches you on its own. Soon after the first awoken was touched by fire, the priest collapsed. He now mutters through his visions, but doesn't wake up. I'm gonna get a quick chat in with Valens before I talk to Helvius. Okay, nothing? Really? Alright. You find Helvius on top of the wall, helping a few locals place a new brick. You wonder if the construction will ever be finished. The village is now so quiet and empty that you hardly recognize it anymore. Helvius looks down at you, then turns away. You put a lot of work on me, Warden. On all of us. Get out of my face with your petty troubles. Hey, you're still the mayor of this village. Don't turn away the only Roadwarden you have. He lets out a joyless chuckle. You're the second one this year. May the right keep us safe from them, and make your end bloody. After a quiet moment and a few angry scowls from the other villagers, you walk away. Okay, so I no longer get to place my thing then. Shit. Picked up some new icons. I stopped many dead shells from awakening. That's true. I have burned the dead on many occasions. Well, I guess then let's leave. I'm gonna eat a little bit. Well, that kills that plan to deliver the bronze rods then, doesn't it? I don't care for that. But also, maybe it's not necessary anymore? We'll find out. An outraged shout of birds fills the bogs. Suddenly, more than 20 brown birds take off from the grasses, scared off by the sound of hooves. Thyrsus welcomes you by widely spreading his arms and creepers. I don't know what you did, he shouts long before you reach his house, but the messenger was here. Orentius, know-all-thing priest, has washed his ears. His laughter makes his amulets rattle. What happened, Warden? You answer a few of his questions, enough for him to grow bored of this exchange, but even then he keeps wandering along the scarp. Okay, he won't be in my debt unless I also weaken the bandits, like the thing I did wasn't fucking miraculous. But fine. I guess I'm just moving on. Okay, so... south, right? Let's head over to the monastery. Yeah. Let's head over to the monastery, then we gotta hit some stuff. Ugh, we had so much to do. So much to do and so few days left. You spot a movement in the thicket far below you. A massive bear is hunting for fish in the river. There's no soul in sight. From the mountain comes the cheerful singing of a woman that you can't understand a single word. You call the monks by hitting the sticks, and the drawbridge lowers. Ailey gestures for you to enter the storage house with his bandaged hand. Warden, he nods. Is all right? His young companion is next to him, observing your palfrey. Yeah. I have a lot to say about White Marshes. We gotta talk. Thou wert not lying. That's a lot. He rubs the liver spots on his face once you edge your tail. I'd rather see that necromancer gone for good myself, he nods politely. But I'll put trust in you. Thy judgment. I'll let the others know. He stands still with closed eyes, or Decima stands still with closed eyes, as if she's napping. Yeah, so if I could maybe get a favor here. I seek knowledge about High Island. Then it was wise of thee to visit our order, he chuckles. But I'd rather save such knowledge for the worthy. Are you fucking kidding me? Dude. Alright, he's gonna say no to this. Eudocia wants me to place these rods in high points across the peninsula. Could you fucking be cool for a change? You've brought her magic here? Yeah, okay. He steps back while Decima turns toward you and reaches behind her behind her back with one hand. Ailey's voice is close to a shout. Take it away before you put all of us in danger. Dude, it's just a piece of bronze. His pale face starts turning red. The echo adds thunder to his words. You're not asked for your thoughts. You think yourself a judge after you put your trust in that witch? He points at you with a bandaged finger. Okay, yeah. Beast in clothes, claws will tear my... Yeah, okay. Worthless. As you descend, you think of Ailey's reaction to the bronze rod. You could ignore him and take a few minutes to tie it to one of the ledges just nearby. This place is already high above the woodlands. Yeah, no, fuck him. Just in case I look behind, then get on the ground. You seek a spot that isn't too easily seen from the trail, then make sure it won't crumble under your weight. After a few minutes, you finish placing the rod, held by a cord and a few heavy rocks. You doubt anyone would stumble upon it. They don't like me already. Whatever. Okay, there are no sounds of work, just the sounds of songs of insects and birds. You knock on the gate, and Tertia opens the peephole after a minute or so. You approach the gate and knock at it. She gives you a long look. Healthy still. Good. I tell them about the druid's plan. I think this is what we gotta lead with, right? I may know a way to help you with the plague. You begin. Even before you end your story, various voices interrupt you with all sorts of queries, which results in a long and chaotic conversation. As their enthusiasm rises, more people approach the gate, chiming in with their doubts or asking for things that have already been explained. Through the hole in the gate, you see a swarm of shifting faces and clothes. This is a waste of time. Let me speak with one soul at a time, please. You can discuss it later on. Tertia once again shows up in the peephole, observing you attentively. You're right. Is there aught we can do to help you with awakening the altar? Well, if you have any items filled with pneuma, I could use them as a sacrifice. Yet another long discussion occurs on the other side, though this time it's more organized, with one soul speaking at a time. When Tertia addresses you, there's sadness in her eyes. There are no enchanters here, Warden. All the magic potions we had were used to fight the plague, and my neighbors don't want to give away our last treasure to someone they don't trust. I can't make this decision for them. I'm not going to press. That sucks, but I'm not going to press. Because I don't think pressing is going to convince them. I think it's just going to make them feel like I'm trying to take advantage. Fine. I hope you won't regret it, though. She closes her eyes for a moment. Me too. The crowd starts to disperse. Listen. Eudocia, the enchantress from the east, wants to know if Eulalia and Arrhenius have avoided the sickness. A long, uncomfortable silence. She's too late. They were asking for their daughter in their nightmares before the illness took away their tongues. We burned both of them on the same day, if it means aught to her. She looks down. Tell her I'm sorry for her loss. I hope she found the peace she was looking for. Oh, all right. I don't know that the rest of this is really relevant to them. I'm gonna come back with a cure. I'll be back. How much time do I have left? 6:30. Okay. I would prefer to sleep in the pelt if possible. So what? It's an hour 15 down to Howler's Dell. Hour and a half there and back. So add 3. I think we might just make it. And I don't have an opportunity to put a rod here. Doesn't seem like it. All right. They don't trust me enough to help with awakening the altar. That's an interesting way of wording that. Maybe if I tell them some of the things I've done for them, they will volunteer items to help. The undead of White Marshes are gone. I hope you'll have an opportunity to trade with the tribe in the spring. She observes you for a good few heartbeats, then turns around and shouts cheerfully. The empty ones are gone! The locals start a commotion, gathering around the gate to hear your tale. They start an avalanche of questions, but after you satisfy their curiosity, Tertia's eyes are relieved. To think you convinced them, she blinks. May the right bring a rapid end upon the necromancer. Yeah, and I've been to many settlements warning the locals about the plague. You don't have to worry about their safety. Thank you, Warden. I'll ask the council to rethink our isolation. With the gates and doors of our neighbors closed, we could start seeking food after all. Maybe even send outside a few hunting trips? Yeah, maybe. Also, I met Quintus. He's doing fine. Oh, he's still with us! Her voice rings with enthusiasm. She asks about his well-being, reacting to your story with a mixture of worry and joy. I'm sorry to hear about his nose. I hope he knows what he's doing. In his position, I would just look for work in Howlersdale, or ask for help from his friends at Pelt. Yeah, so listen, in light of all the good works I've done for you and everything, I do still need help awakening the altar? There's determination in her eyes. And my neighbors are willing to give away the last treasure they own. They trust you, Warden. After a few moments, a small metal object is thrown toward you through the peephole. It lands next to your boots. You crouch and pick it up, and at first you're not sure what you're looking at. It's longer than a finger span, but thin, finished with a flattened edge for cutting. It occurs to you that it's a simple chisel. I say nothing. You hear an elderly man. It belonged to my son, the greatest sculptor that has ever lived in Old Pagos, to Right's glory and our great joy. His words are sonorous and solemn. It's filled with pneuma that makes its holder's hands so powerful they can carve in granite, so precise they can write in glass. The tool is as warm as your own skin. I'll honor your son's memory by putting this to good use. You won't regret this. Be blessed by the good architect, the old man goes on, as you ride through paths too dangerous for human shells. You've got our trust and gratitude, Samhain. The crowd disperses slowly. Tertia returns to the peephole and gives you a curious though kind look. Also, I'm trying to learn, do I want to ask them for more favors? I feel like I should just fuck off, but this might be relevant. Yeah, I need to know what you know about High Island. Give me a moment. She steps away from the peephole and asks a few people about something you can't fully hear. Once she's back, there's no joy in her eyes. Oh, the illness has already taken whom you wanted to speak with. The old sailors from Howler's Dell, husband and wife, who found the true word of the right. Now gone, her voice is at the brink of cracking. She closes her brown eyes and regains her composure with a few breaths. You may learn more in the monastery, but the monks rarely share their secrets. Boy, ain't that the case. Do you have anything critical to say about the other villages? Which ones? Perhaps the tribe of the Green Mountain? She sizes you up. I don't know what you've heard, but they never bothered us, and neither offered us their friendship. The tribe keeps its distance from those who follow Right's tablets. Ask other pagans, or their elders. What about Howler's Dell? Well, they're the closest village. You get there riding south from the crossroads with the 4 signposts. But don't trust them. She gives you a piercing gaze. They have an order of druids who bow to animals and dead spirits, and their mayor, Theus, has too many grand ideas in her head and a tongue dancing to lies. 10 years ago, she tried to tie the tribes in the north with a pact, yet wanted to grasp all the wealth, telling us we should pay her for protection. Her laughter is as hollow as her soul. A long pause. And don't let them cloud your eyes. They have food, riches, mead, and pretty houses, but all of those carry poison, and this poison is what leads them. Yeah, all right, I've got no more questions, thank you. That was a lot of confirming things that I thought were the case already. All right, let's go talk to Egidia, and from here we'll decide whether we're going to try to make it to the Pelt today. The hamlet is peaceful, silent like a dead tree. For a few moments, you think that some of the tall rocks are moving, but as you stare at them, you find only the seagulls. Egidia is sitting near the entrance, carving a bowl from a piece of driftwood. Yeah. She waves at you from a distance. Her voice is bright. Good to see you alive. Yeah. How do you feel about what happened to Steep House? How should I feel? I was still this tall. She raises her open hand, palm down, to her chest. I just heard 'tis difficult, and that I shouldn't ask about it. She then bites her lower lip. I've been thinking about it for years, but maybe I should, knowing it was Thays who told me this. I do know what happened. Would you like to learn the truth? Her hands squeeze her bow. Her eyes are keen. After her gentle nod, you tell her what you've learned. Tears well up in her eyes even before you finish, but she stares at you intensely, trying to catch a hint of a lie, something to grab on before she puts her trust in your tale. In the end, she scratches the sand with her foot, lowering her head. Then she covers her eyes. Shame on them. Shame on my... Deus. and on me, for I asked nae questions. Before you respond, she enters her hut for a minute, then returns with fresh water dripping from her face. While her eyes are red, she holds her bow with determination. 'Tis better to know the truth. I planned to return home one year, but now I dinna know. If I do, I will be heard. Listen, not to get... not to compare your woes with mine or anything, but I think Asterion has sailed to High Island. Do you know anything about that? She opens her mouth, but needs a few breaths to speak. He left, like that, without a word, to that death trap. She raises her bow and points in the northwest. You can see the island from here. 'Tis the easy to get there, even on a boat. When you mentioned that you'd appreciate any tip that could help you survive there, she moves her lips left and right, humming to herself. I haven't seen it myself, but I heard that when the winters are at their darkest, the water from here to there is all frozen. Even a big beast can get there on their paws. Seeing your puzzled look, she explains. The creatures there aren't too different from the ones we have here. The more you learn about them, the more prepared you'll be. Before you change the subject, she lets out a huff. I do hope you'll bring him back. Okay, it's probably time I go. 3:15. I can't quite make it back to the pelt. That's really annoying. Well, then I guess we're spending the night in Howlersdale? Yeah, that is a real bummer. I was really hoping to make it back to the pelt. And we're so close, too. The thing is, I definitely don't want to ride to Steep House and then suffer the huge vitality penalty of getting caught out at night, even though we would only be riding for a few minutes. All right. I'm not going to press on the Steep House thing. Not yet. I'm not allowed to wash my face here. Shit. Well, whatever. It's fine. Go to the main square. I'm at 0 appearance again. Are my clothes? Nope, they're fine. I just have no bonuses. Oh, right, my vitality's not full. That's where the point I'm used to having is supposed to come from. Well, that being the case... Yeah, I don't want to sell you my golem rods. So I guess what we do here is just sleep. We'll just do the expensive sleep. Really wash up. Alright. Nothing new there. Leave the square. We are not talking about Steep House just yet. Alright. We're in a good position to get some stuff done today. 29. Criminy. I am really running out of time. Okay. We're in a good position to get some stuff done today. I am super disappointed about the way that some of this has worked out, but that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When y'all come back next time... When y'all come back next time, we're going to try real hard to deal with this plague situation. And after that, I don't know what my next immediate concern is. Because we got to figure out a way of getting to High Island, but I just have no idea how to do it. All right. That's... When you come back next time, we're going to try to figure out a way to High Island, probably. And we'll see you then.